Good evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time that you are choosing to watch this video presentation. My name is Reign of Tears, and I have the Reign of Tears YouTube channel. I hope that everyone has had the opportunity to look at some of my videos, photo slide productions, and other filmed social and cultural events. I appreciate that, and I also, as always, offer you the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Today's brief, I would say, diatribe from my perspective is that my irritation with some Black American men who, for some irrational reason, have a strong dislike for the actress Thandie Newton. Now, the initial issues came up a few months ago. I've made two videos that featured Thandie Newton. The first one was a standalone video presentation that I did. And people that follow my productions know that I've done many photo slide presentations that centered on a particular athlete, actress, entertainer, political figure, etc., men and women. But for some reason, at the time, I was trying to find out why so many Black American men had this almost seemingly irrational hatred and strong dislike for the actress Thandie Newton. At that particular time, on my first standalone video that I featured with her, I even put a few quotes to respond to some individuals that were making sarcastic statements. You know, that's what some individuals like to do. And let me preface, obviously, YouTube and the internet is in general is a forum where people should obviously be able to express their opinion. But my irritation is when people do things, you know, in a mean-spirited manner for no reason. You know, some people in the anonymity of the internet feel that they can just talk, you know, trash, and just be disrespectful and rude. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, you should ignore that or whatever and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I was raised that way, you know, to, you know, turn the other cheek and, you know, act intelligently or whatever. But, you know, and I'm not a hood person. I would say that my life, just getting tangential a little bit, was such that I was not a hood person, you know, but I was aware of the hood or whatever, and I know how hood mentality works, you know, like, unlike some of my relatives, I had to go, you know, because I wasn't smart enough, if I wasn't gifted or anything like that. So I had to deal with the realness of going to a neighborhood school. And in a neighborhood school, you know, you have to deal with the social realities of the urban life or whatever. So anyway, I'm prefacing that to say, you know, sometimes you got to get down with the get down or whatever. So with me, as it said, you know, for whatever reason, some Black American men have this intense hatred, supposedly because Thandie Newton supposedly said some negative and disparaging statements about Black men. I, at the time of my first standalone video, researched when I saw some of these comments, and at the time, I told or responded to individuals that were making these allegations that there's nothing on there that would indicate that she has said any negative, disparaging things about Black men in particular. Now, what she does with her personal life, and I know that she is married to a Caucasian man or whatever, you know, I mean, obviously a person can marry whoever they want to. I mean, my preference might be that, you know, well, I mean, my preference is that a person should marry whoever they want to marry, you know, so, I mean, that's irrelevant at this point. But the point being is that no one on that video could come up with any concrete evidence that Thandie Newton had made or said or referenced Black men or Black people in a negative manner. If anything, she talked about her life, you know, growing up in an area where she and her brother were, like, you know, the only Blacks in the town, and dealing with the racism of Hollywood. And, you know, she's not American, though she's coming from her perspective. But anyway, the bottom line is that no one could come up with any factual, verifiable source of evidence. They could just go by hearsay, or like say somebody made the idiotic, or a few people made idiotic comments were like, well, she's got these vast number of dislikes, so that must mean there's some substance to it. That's a nonsense stupid argument. Because just because a lot of people like something or dislike something, that doesn't necessarily mean that that makes it true. In this day and age, for example, many more people like Young Thug or Cardi B than like the late jazz artist Lester Young or Stan Getz or Wes Montgomery, if they've even heard of them or whatever. You know, if you put them head to head, or even if you played their music, and then even though they're different styles of music or whatever, and then you played, Cardi B or Young Thug or some of the other artists that aren't really that talented, in my opinion, and don't have any real musical ability or whatever. Bottom line is that the artist of today would get more likes or dislikes. And even to make the comparison even fairer, let's just say if we put, a classic rapper, like Rakim, of Eric B. and Rakim, that group from the past, a classic rapper, compared with the top rappers of the day, if I made a video like that comparing to the two, the rappers of today would get many more likes than Rakim, so that's not necessarily just because, something gets way more likes and another person gets a lot of dislike. That's a bogus argument. I want people to come up with some, if you choose to do so, with some evidence to support your idea, these black guys that make these negative, disparaging things about the actress, whom I think she's a very good actress. She comes across as intelligent, and she is intelligent from what I can see or whatever, as opposed to just some BS about you don't like her because you heard that she did this. Come on, use your brain. Don't just follow the crowd. Don't just be a part of the herd. And I came across in my second video that I made just today, or at the time of this video presentation, where she was paired with Amelia Clark. And this one, again, has got a whole lot of dislikes. And I addressed that in my response on there. I made two responses. One was kind of harsh. I would say that, I somewhat apologize, though I did say this was in reference to the knuckleheads that just go on and just just immediately just put dislikes. Some people just like to do that. They just like to just ruin people's products and just give a lot of dislikes and whatever. They get off on that. They get a satisfaction with that. that makes their day. They just like negativity and like argument and negativity. I mean, I guess I have to deal with that. That's the realities of life. So anyway, and also one thing I noted too is like there's some other bloggers that have put things of sort of wondering too, what's this negativity with Thandie Newton? What has she done? I mean, now Reddit was one of the ones that did it. It's not exactly the liberal presentation in the media for an extent, but I mean, just in this particular case, some of the responses there, they were saying, well, maybe it might be the nudity or whatever that was associated that she's done in Westworld or whatever. And I mean, me at least that's like legitimate. I might disagree with that. If that's a reason why some people might say they dislike her, but at least that's like saying, a legitimate reason. Like, okay, I don't like actresses that display their body like that or whatever. They should be more modest or whatever. At least that's a more legitimate reason as to come up with like, oh, I don't like her because I heard that she don't like black men and all this. I mean, man, just be mature and grow up. So again, I'm sorry to go off on a rant, but it just irritates me for the so-called brothers that do that type of thing. So I wish everybody, I got to end on a positive note, peace and positivity. Come with a positive mindset. Come with your own thoughts and don't be swayed so much by other people. All right, everyone, take care. Take care.